Okay, first you're going to need 2 cups of chickpea flour.
Yes.
And a device to sift it with.
Yes. And next is
2 teaspoons of annatto seed.
2 teaspoons of annatto seed. Add that in.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show them what the package looks like too?
Yep. All right, let me show you what this annatto seed is all about. I get it like this at Walmart, over by the spices where the little baggies are. It's about 68 cents. It comes like a seed, like you see here on the package, but I ground it up. Now here's a tip. When you grind it up in your blender cup, you know, like one of these, lay out your annatto seeds on a paper towel for at least 24 hours. Let them dry out a little bit more. Because if you don't and you go to grind it up in your blender cup,
it'll get stuck to everything.
It'll get very, parts of this will get very hard and stuck to it and turn it red, and it'll be really hard to get it out. But if you let it dry out a little bit, it doesn't leave as much behind. And if you're not sure, leave the seed out maybe 2 days and before grinding it, and then just keep grinding it down until it gets nice and fine. And that's about it. And don't forget to wash your hands after using this so it doesn't stain them.
Cayenne pepper.
Yeah, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne.
1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Add that all in there.
Mm-hmm.
And ginger.
A teaspoon of ginger.
All right. Make sure that ain't stick there. I gotta put that in there too. And we got some onion powder. 2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons.
Yes, I almost forgot about that.
That's
2
okay.
teaspoons. Right in there. And 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt.
Yes.
Make sure that don't stick. Good. All right.
Now you're going to sift this.
Yes.
When you get down to the end, when it looks like this, for those of you that haven't sifted before, just press it down and move it around in the sifter. It'll break it down real nice and go right through it. It's a good way to lighten up your flour a little bit and get rid of all those heavy balls that don't stir in well. Okay, the next step, you're going to need a 1/4 cup of avocado oil. Yeah, we're going to need a spoon too. Then next we're going to add 4 to 6 teaspoons of Perry water, or tablespoons, I'm sorry.
4 to 6 tablespoons.
Yeah, we're going to start off with 4. Whoops.
2, 3.
Now you're going to stir it and see if you need more. If the dough will be like a Play-Doh consistency. And this is one of those batters where you're going to need to get your hands in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to do all 6, I think.
That's 5. That'd be 6.
Oh. Put your hands in there and start stirring it, and we'll see.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Unless you want me to do it. It's up to you. Squish it and knead it. You feel like it needs more or no?
No.
No?
5. 5 is the magic number.
Alright. Everybody's is going to be different, guys. Because you never know. It's hard to measure, you know, flour perfectly, especially chickpea flour, because, you know, if you pack it too much, you might have a little extra. So you might, you know, you might only need 4 tablespoons or 5 tablespoons or maybe 6. Depends. Alright, now you're just going to form it into a ball, and then you're going to want to wash your hands so it doesn't stain. Okay, the next step is pretty simple. You want to get you some parchment paper and cut it the same size as the pan that you're going to be using. Okay? Now, we're going to do 2 batches because when you roll out this dough, it takes up so much room, and you're going to need enough room to roll it out thin enough. So, if you're going to do 2 batches like me, make sure you cut 3 pieces of parchment paper. Alright guys, now you're going to take your ball, and we're going to roll it out. I just like to put it in the middle of your parchment paper. Oh wait, we gotta take half of it. You gotta take half of it apart here. All right, so I'll start again here. Take half of your dough, put it in the middle, nice little round ball, and flatten it a little bit. Take a second piece of parchment paper, and you're gonna lay it over top. press down so it'll stick. Make sure we're in frame. Okay. Now we're going to start rolling from the inside out. So you can try to keep it even as possible. We're going to want to get it as thin as possible. We're going towards about 1/8 of an inch thick. Do the best you can. It does take some time. This is the longest part of making this. I mean, it's not going to take hours or anything, but it's going to take you a good 5 minutes to get this right. Now try not to go out of the edges. If you do, just take a knife, cut that part off, and peel up the paper and throw it back on, or put it in the pile with your other dough. Like right here, I just went over the edge. See that? So I'm going to peel this back a little, and I'm going to cut this off, and I'm just going to lay it with the other dough. But you can just throw it back on the middle and roll it back out, you know, by peeling your paper up and just laying it there and then flattening it. Stretch it across your paper as much as possible. If you get weird peaks, you know, you just roll them up and fix it. Like this is splitting right here. I'm just going to roll these back, make them even. But if they were really thin and I had strange peaks coming up, just roll them back and then roll them back out so that you can try to, it'll help you to stretch this out more evenly and that you don't get burnt edges. After doing this a few times, it'll just get easier and easier and easier. And you'll be a pro at making these. This is actually my 3rd time attempting to do it on film. They come out good every time, except for something goes wrong with the camera. So
that's why she got me as the cameraman.
I think it's because hubby wasn't with me. I like making recipes with him.
Our fans say we work good together.
Yes.
And if you do things without me, it don't work out.
Well, I get attitude, and I want to throw things. And plus, it's, what is it, 90 in our house right now?
Yeah.
It's very hot in here in Florida today. It's like our air conditioner cannot keep up with it. Alright, so now we're going to check on thickness and see what we think. See, I kind of like that. It's a little thin there, though. I don't like how thin it is, but I'm going to leave it right now. Let's see.
Yeah, I never seen you like prepare it before either. Like cut it up and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, because you're usually not here while I'm getting pissed off at the dough and yelling. All right, so this is good enough. Now you're going to carefully peel it up. Okay, you're just going to go slow and peel it off. Save this piece though. You're going to use it.
Look at that, people.
Now don't worry if it's a little thick in the middle. You know, it is not exactly easy to get the whole thing even. But when you go to bake it,
it all works out.
And you see how it fits on your paper perfectly? But when you go to bake it, what was I going to say? You're going to bake it 10 to 13 minutes on 350. And don't worry about the edges. And what was I going to say? The edges are going to get a little darker on the thin spots, but when it's baking, you're going to feel it's harder on the edges and a little softer in the middle. But no, don't go longer than 13 minutes unless you did it really thick. That's different. But now let's cut it. We're going to do lines up.
Okay.
Like this. Then we're going to do diagonal lines like this. And depending on how close you do them together is how small they'll be. The next line you're going to try to go right through the X areas the best you can. And then you'll get some of your, you know, tortilla chip shapes. I can't talk. Might never come out perfect. I just do whatever. So there you have it. Now you won't have to break these up or nothing really when they come out of the oven. You're just gonna, I'll show you. Alright, put this in the oven for 10 to 13 minutes. Alright guys, the chickpea chips are out of the oven. As you see, they already start to separate. It's so simple. There's no breaking them apart or nothing. And what I do to get them in a container is get my container ready. Take my parchment paper, fold it up, just like this. Press them down a little. There you go. Look at that. Nice little chips. Nice crunch to them. Alright guys, so there you have it. Alkaline Electric Chickpea Chips. They kind of taste a little bit like a Cool Ranch Dorito, just slightly. They're not too spicy. And they pair very well with our avocado salsa, which I will leave a link for right up here and down in the description box. They also pair well with our salsa and our guacamole. And they go well for a complete meal with our fajitas. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you thought of the recipe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks guys. Bye.